Hello, 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 and welcome to Her Perspective, a space for real conversations, generational wisdom, and sacred growth. Here, we gather to heal, evolve, and rise together. My prayer for each and every episode is that if we can even reach one woman and inspire her and encourage her to put herself first and work on the things that she wants for her
Mhm.
life, then we have planted a positive seed. I am your host, Tierra Brown, and today I have a special guest, an amazing and beautiful woman. She is Sonya Johnson, and she is near and dear to my heart. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself, and then I will share how special and beautiful our relationship is before we move into the questions. So, welcome to Her Perspective, Sonya Johnson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sonya Johnson. As you said, I'm so delighted that she wanted me to just participate in being a perspective woman and encouraging the women uh, to better themselves and to help themselves in ways that's going to make them heal or whatever is going on in their life. And I'm just so glad to be here to be a part of that occasion.
Thank you so much. And I feel like I'm probably going to say this every episode, but well, all of these episodes up to this point is full circle for me because we're talking about generations of women and we're asking questions so that a woman can reflect on her life and just share her wisdom in whatever generation she is in. So Sonya is my aunt. So her mom,
Mhm.
my mom and her mom, they're sisters. And so I, as far back as I can remember, um, she has been an important part of my life. And even though we have been miles and miles away, I always remember, and it's just so special to me that wherever we were, you always, ask how we're doing. If there was a big occasion like my sister, a couple of weeks ago, her wedding and reception, you asked if we were coming back and if we, maybe needed help to get back that way. And I will never forget that. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful for the relationship that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and, as I've said before, we have questions that are standard to Her Perspective podcast. But what we will also do is leave space and room for conversation and just allow things to flow. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the first question, which I have over here, which is what did womanhood look like for you when you were growing up?
Okay, Tierra, when I was growing up, I really had to kind of like grow up fast
Hmm.
because it was an older sister, then it was me, then I had younger siblings. Growing up in a household, knowing it wasn't all that great because my dad he was an alcoholic. I grew up in an abusive home, and so my womanhood was like I didn't really have a lot of guidance
Hmm.
because my mother she was like more focused on trying to keep her mental state as
Keep
far
the
as
peace.
because like I say it was like we I had to grow up fast and just move on. I didn't get a lot of like help from my mother or anything, or she didn't like kind of like mentor me into being a woman that I needed to be.
Hmm.
I'm not blaming her for anything about my life the way that I grew up, but it could a lot of stuff could have uh I think she if she was in a better state
Hmm.
and in a better way of living that she would have nurtured me more into a woman as I was growing up because I had
Hmm.
to learn a lot of stuff on my own and dealt with a lot of stuff, a lot of abuse that later on in my womanhood and raising my kids by myself,
Mhm.
that contributed to when you get older, you recognize that and you bring that into a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I was grew up, as a woman, my mom as a woman, as being uh I raised my kids by myself.
Mhm.
By myself. I had two boys and I had a daughter. And so it was kind of like hard, but I made
Yeah.
do. If I had to work two jobs, which I
Yeah.
did, I never had to really have to struggle because that's
Mhm.
what I did. My mother did help me as far
Yeah.
as like sometimes keep, watch over my kids while I work. But it was kind of like it was difficult for me.
Yeah.
And I realized that now, later on in my life, I realized the things that contributed to where I am today and the way that I act. But
Mhm.
I'm a changed person now. I don't act that way no more because I accepted the fact that that's how I grew up. I
Mhm.
grew up in a home that was unstable,
Yeah.
and that brought
Unstable.
a lot on me. And I didn't learn a lot because my mom, like she had stuff going on. Uh,
Mhm.
some stuff, I would not dispose of, but it's just been a lot. It was
It's
it
just
was
a lot.
me growing up as a woman. As a woman, it was very hard for me growing up as a woman. But I may do. I learn now. Put right now. Put God first, and
Yes.
which I went to church and everything. And the older I got, the closer I got to God. And he was the one that brought me out of all of this, out
Hmm.
of bondage, because it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was not even for me, but for my sisters as well. You know,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
really hard growing up in an abusive home, and trying to being in and out of relationships, trying to figure out is this man right? Is this man right? I mean, I married late
Yes.
I married really late, but I thank God for that because he had to fix me before I could move on into a marriage. And so with
Yeah.
that being said, it was really hard. It was hard. And like I say, my mom, she tried, but she was in an abusive home.
Mhm.
We all dealt with that after we left home. And
Yes.
I did even in my marriage, but it's better now because I learned I saw that and I gave it to God and he fixed all that. He had to let me know what was going on in my life so that I can figure out so he can lead me to where I need to be as far as mental state,
Mhm.
you know, and it's a lot. It was a lot. I went through a whole lot as a woman, not knowing a lot of stuff about finances, about
Mm.
marriage, all that. And
Yes.
it, it in the long run, it did kind of like hurt me because I was trying to figure out why I'm doing this, why I'm trying to do
Mhm.
that, stuff that a man's supposed to do for a woman, which I was doing it because I raised
Yeah.
my kids by
That's what you
myself.
saw. Yeah.
So it was difficult, Tierra.
Wow.
It really
So,
was.
my goodness, to reflect back what I have just heard from even from the first question is that there was a lot of healing that had to take place. There was a lot of things that you had to learn on your own. There was cycles that had to be broken. And the
Exactly.
biggest thing that I want to highlight is that you realize the importance of taking those things to God, but also realizing like you notice the pattern. Like, why is this going on? Why is my life kind of
Exactly.
reflecting back what I grew up in? And Lord,
Exactly.
what am I gonna do how do I fix it? And so, like, I'm so grateful for your answer and your, being transparent because, a lot of the same stuff that you said I saw some of it too.
Mm-hmm.
You being my aunt and my mom, you know, we kind of moved back and
Exactly.
forth into the grandparents' house. So there were
Mm-hmm.
things that I saw, but one thing that I do remember is that my grandma, she went to church and I don't remember my grandpa ever going, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I was there, I went to church and even in the midst of all of the stuff that was going on, that was one thing that I remember is that my grandma, she went to church. My
He went,
grandpa, I don't remember him going, but
but
I
at
guess
the
that
end,
kind of that faith carried faith, and looking to God was something that has kept us all of these
that
years.
most
Yeah.
definitely. Because I tell you, I look back and I said, Lord, I said it couldn't be. And I
Mm.
think about things that happened, and I said, you know what? God had His hands all over the whole entire
The whole
family.
family, yes.
Because if you knew the stuff that we went through,
Mm.
but God,
But God,
but God,
I'm so
God,
ain't
He
nothing but it's nothing but Him. Like
He
nothing.
kept telling you.
Yes,
If
yes.
I
Cause
tell
I,
you
oof.
the story, Lord have mercy, you say, oh my God, Lord, I made
Oh
it. And I
Lord,
think about that today
yeah,
because you reflect over your life. I say, oh God, look how we made it. God
yes,
did again. But Him, He had us
mm,
covered.
yeah, yeah. There's a few things I remember from when I was a kid, but we were kids and we just was going with what we had to go with. But when I look back, I'm like, oh my Lord, like we could not have we were in situations as kids and we was laughing thinking it was something fun, but
Hey,
we could have been gone.
that's let me say this right here. Do you remember the time that Papa took all of y'all in the woods and y'all got lost? Were you with them at that time?
Lord.
My and y'all were going from sun up to sundown. And
Oh
Mama,
Lord.
do you remember that? That
I
y'all
don't remember that.
I got y'all lost in the woods. I mean, it's
Oh
just
my
so messed
goodness.
up. Here, I can go on and on and on about the things that we've been through as a family. Even as a child, I have so many reflections. Even when I was 5 and 6 years old, I
Wow.
got so much stuff that I remember. I'm not gonna say get into all the details, but
Right, right.
we
Wow.
made it.
I
We made
know.
it.
What a testimony
Woo!
to just be like, because some people they stay stuck in that this is
Yeah.
how I grew up, and they don't realize the patterns or the cycles, and so it's a continuous thing. And
Thing.
my prayer is that later on we can continue to have more conversations
Exactly.
around just that healing and breaking those patterns, because it also translates to our kids, even if
You
maybe they
are correct.
didn't observe it.
Yes, and let me say this too. So I was having a conversation with my mother, and I was telling her how I would like sometimes treat my husband. I
Hmm.
would like get mad at him and say stuff that I didn't really mean and curse. I had a bad
Yeah.
spirit of Tierra. But guess what? I said, Mom, I said, I don't mean no harm, but the environment that I grew up in and the way you
Hmm.
and my have arguments and curse and get mad and fight, fuss and fight. I would want to fight my husband. I said, you know what, God? I said, I know what this is. This is something generational. I'm not
Generation.
going to refuse. I rebuke it in Jesus' name. I'm not going to act that way. So I really had to, God really put on my heart. I had to give it to God because I'm breaking that generation. I'm not going to be like that. So
Yeah.
the environment that you have, where you raise your kids and how you raise your kids, it reflects on them when they grow up. Even
That is
with
so
even the sons growing up without a father, and the mother's trying to play the father role and the mother role. Okay, she can play the mother role with them, and she's pretending to play the father role, but really she can't because they need a man in their life. So when they get older, guess what? Some things they don't know how to do. They don't know how to treat a woman. They doing things that a man that's not supposed to be doing. You know,
true.
it's confusing, but generational stuff is real.
Yes.
I'm cherished and over to your kids. But you know what? When they realize and they give to God, and they know that they don't want to be like that. Give to God. He gonna take it. He gonna make sure. Look, I surrender, Lord. I'm not. I'm not gonna be that way. Rebuke it.
Yeah. That's a good point because we at some point we do have to take responsibility of, like you said, you notice some things in your marriage and you was like, wait a minute, you know, for me it's like, okay, what's the point of being married if you're gonna be in those environments that you try to run away from as a
And yeah,
kid. So it's
wow.
like, but you had to be the one to say, I'm not, I don't want to live like this. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm gonna transition into, you already had covered one of the questions, but
Uh-huh.
I'm going to transition into this one of how important was family time when you were growing up.
Hey, you know what? Family time meant a lot to me, and just reflecting back on family time, I'm telling you, my dad, and my mother, they were providers. They did take care of us, provide for us food wise and all that, shelter. And family time when we would eat, daddy would be at the table, my mama be at the table, me, Terry, all of us, we'd be at the table, we're eating.
Yeah.
you know, we sit down and we would watch TV together. I mean, we had a good family time, just sometimes, when things got out of hand, we wouldn't, but we had a good, we had a good life, even with
Yeah.
cousins that stayed right next door to us. We were a close family. It was five of us, and we were close, a very close knit family. And just like I say, just going back in retrospect, just looking and at the table as Daddy sitting, Mom
Mm.
sitting, Casey, Terry, and Chinese. Now I don't have a lot of memories with Donnell, because Donnell was small. She was
Hmm. She
younger,
was younger. Yeah.
so I don't have a lot of like memories with her. But with the first four of us, I mean, we had a good relationship. We had to take care of each other. When my mom and dad had to drive 30, 40 minutes to work, we had to get up early in the morning. After they left, they leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. We got up at 6:15. Each we had one bathroom, so we had to take turns use some bathroom. We got along real good. It was just like right now, it's the same way. I get up at 6 o'clock, no later than six, because that's just a pattern, that a good pattern, a
Mm.
habit that I picked up as a child. And we had a good childhood and a good relationship with our parents. Sometimes stuff, like I say, chaotic, but when stuff when it wasn't chaotic, it was a good thing. I have a really good feeling about that. That sticks to my heart, and I have a lot of memories of family time, being with my family. And mom, we get in the car, we ride to Shelby,
Hmm.
do stuff. I remember going to the mountains. We would go to different states like Washington D.C. to visit my grandmother. I mean, we did a lot of stuff together. So that was good times, in my life, that I do remember as a family time that was really good.
Yeah, I was reflecting on that as well, and I remember you brought up going to Washington D.C. And one of the memories that I do have is, I don't know how old I was, but I remember going to DC and I
Uh-huh.
learned how to double dutch. Like that was
Yeah.
something for me because I remember I learned how to double dutch.
Yeah. Even when we would go to the mountains, we would go as all of us, the
Hmm.
sisters and our kids, and we would go together. We had a good time. We really had a good time. You
Yeah,
know, I really enjoyed it. So we had a great family time. We love each other. You know,
yeah,
so I can't. Family time was great.
yeah. And I think like in the midst of all of the things, life can be chaotic and just some of the things that went on in the household, there still were family values,
Each,
look out for each other,
each
spend time
other.
together. I remember, eating, we would always be getting together for something, and everybody
Yeah,
had like their special dish that they might
yeah,
bring and
yeah.
things like that. And so
Uh-huh.
I was just saying the other day, that's something that I miss because, well, we've been over here for what, about 8 years, and we've missed a lot of people's birth, it's cousins and
Yeah,
nephews and nieces and things that I haven't met in person. And I was like, thank the Lord for social media, the positive sides of it, because I still get to see family from afar. But I just remember like that was so important. And I remember before we left for Germany, when I had my three kids,
yeah,
we all met up at Mama Jolly's house, and I
yeah,
have a picture of four generations. It was Mama
yeah.
Jolly. Mama Coralie, my mom, myself, and oh, that's five generations, and my kids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so like that is so important and so special to me. So I'm glad that like even in the midst of all of that, we knew that family and that family time was so special.
Yeah, it sure was. And I really miss it too. Seems like
Yeah.
we've got swayed away from that. But sometimes I'll be trying to like put stuff together. When I go to North Carolina, I said, we're going to get together. We're going to do this or that. So when I come, I still try to, well, we're going to eat. I'm going to, so when I go down there, guess what? They expect me to cook. Here come Toppy. Oh, we getting ready to eat because that's something that's embedded in me that I like to do.
Yeah,
We,
bring everybody together.
yeah, and I love that
Yeah.
all together. And then, we start talking about memories and this and that and another. And I love that. Just think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely something that I miss. Now, I was saying earlier that as you were sharing about what it looked like in for you as you were growing up, what did womanhood look like? You had kind of already transitioned into one of our questions, so I'll just
Yeah.
ask it. The question is, what is one lesson you learned later in life that you needed to know when you were younger?
Okay. So really, growing up and looking back in retrospect, just going back, I think as far as like growing up about how to treat a man, how you treat your husband, how to treat your husband, financial stuff that I didn't learn until later in life. I wish, as growing up, I wish my parents would have taught me about how to handle money, how to save, how to get started with finances and stuff, inheritances, say put money back for your kids and stuff of that nature that I'm just kind of like just now learning. When I met my husband, he taught me a lot, uh, about even about raising my kids. Me, as far as me being a woman and trying to be a man, you cannot
Mm,
raise you can raise a son, but you cannot treat them like you treat a woman. And those are things that I was doing. And sometimes I look back, I said, Lord, I said, why do my sons act the way they do? They don't know how to do this as far as men stuff, because they
mhm.
never had a man in their life. And I wish, oh, of course, my dad was there, but still they needed somebody in their life. So that's reflecting on them now. So it's a
Yeah.
lot, I just wish that if my mom would have sat me down and talked to me more, even about what kind of men to pick, and like I say, my
What to
finances,
look out for?
look out for. Yeah, even though my brother, he tried he tried to do it. Okay, see, when I just being on this subject, when I would try to date somebody, he said, Toppy, don't you talk to him. Say he number old dog. so,
Oh, he
so
tried.
he tried. So it just not it's I just wish that I would have known. If I know what I know today, I wish I would, that I was more exposed to that. And like I say, we had a lot of stuff going on in our family. So my mom, and she had children, back to back. So she really didn't, to be honest with you, she didn't have a childhood womanhood either, because she had one with one man and had 5 kids. So now she, she tried to, we talk and we laugh and joke about stuff. And I told her, we have talks about this, and she said, she said she a top. I wasn't even thinking about that, because guess what? She was distracted. She had distractions. If she didn't have distractions, guess what? She would have taught me a lot of stuff as far as being a woman. And that goes back to being with her mother. Her mother probably, mama probably didn't teach her.
But she
So
had even more kids, right?
So when you put all this together, sometimes she wasn't taught, and when she had a daughter, it wasn't taught to me, and that's how I had to kind of like learn on my own or
Mhm.
whatever, and just go through. God send you through stuff, send you on stuff, and He reverses you, and you pray, and He just everything just seems like it's just lined up. It lines
Mhm.
up. So
Yeah.
everything that I went through as a woman and trying from then and now, I feel good about my life. I
Yeah.
feel so good about my life. and feel good about the man that he put in my life. Because he
Amen.
taught a lot, a whole lot. I
I
cannot
thank God for good husbands.
and that's what I'm saying. And
Yes, because oh, go
I
ahead.
here. I said, Lord, why? I said, I want a husband, God. I said, Lord, I'm 40 years old. Oh, 40 went by, then 45 went by. So, oh, Lord, I'm be an old maid. And so by the time I turned, but God was building me up to the woman that He didn't wanted me to be so that I can handle my husband, so I can deal with him and understand him. And so that's what happened. And so when I married him, I was still learning. And God put him in my life so he can teach me because like I say, some of the stuff that as a woman growing up and as a teenager, that I didn't get from home, he teaches me now. And I look back and I say, you know what? Thank you, God.
Yes.
And I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I started at a later age, but
Yeah.
God had to happen that way. I didn't plan it. That's the way God wanted it. I know I kept praying for a husband, but I didn't get married at I was what, 48,
Yeah.
48, closer to 50. But
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy or whatever, and like I say, I'm learning new stuff every day. God, He just teaching me. He's renewed my mind and all that stuff, my spirit. I, I'm at peace. Just put it that way. I'm
Yeah.
peaceful. I'm at peace.
I love that. I truly do. And again, thank God for, good husbands. I married extremely young, and by the
Mhm.
grace of God and nothing and nobody else,
Right.
we're still together going on.
Right.
It's about 23 years now, and
That's a long.
4 kids later, and I'm
Yeah.
just so grateful. But one of the things you said was, you're still learning, you're still evolving, and
Mhm.
you're at peace with how life is. And I just love that because it speaks to, even though growing up and young adulthood and adulthood and just life, we can go through so many things, but if God keeps us and brings us to the other side of that, like, it's so beautiful, and you can have peace even knowing that there were things you missed out on, things you didn't learn until later in life.
Mhm.
Um, but that we just have an opportunity to evolve, and so I'm so grateful for that. I
I am
have
too.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said I am too. Because like I say, God, He has been so good to me. He just keeps showing me stuff, and now He's having me speak to my other people in my family.
Yeah.
Like I say, if somebody call me, what I give them a kind, whatever God puts on my heart to tell them. So He's using me to teach them. Even my kids, my nephews, my nieces, all of them. I give them the word that God gives me to give to them, so that they don't have to go through or what I went through.
Hmm.
As far as teaching, like the finances and not having kids before me, all that stuff. I was not taught that. And I want them to know. So that's another generational thing that I'm want to break. Just giving it, passing it on to them so that they don't make the mistakes that I did, and I won't you won't have to wait. They won't have to wait a long time like I did in life to experience the things that I'm experiencing now.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
that is so 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 beautiful. Like, we have to reach back. Now,
Yeah.
whether they take it and they use the wisdom that you've given them, whether they
Right.
take it and use it, or they just like let it go in one ear out the other, that's on them. But you are doing your part, and we are so grateful for that.
And just keep everybody prayed up, everybody in the
Yes,
family.
yes,
Every
absolutely.
Yeah.
So another question, and you like this is that's why I love this format of like conversational, because a lot of this, as you are just sharing your story, you are like hitting every question that I have on this paper, and
Oh,
we're just flowing as a conversation. So that's beautiful, because the next question I was going to ask is, what did you sacrifice, or what did you feel pressured to sacrifice? Now, this could be during young adulthood, or as a child, or like just as a woman in general?
Tierra, I sacrificed a lot. Uh, Starting with with my kids, raising them as a single mom, having to work two jobs because I didn't want to. First, I didn't want to be on welfare. I didn't want them living in the hood,
Mhm.
or anything like that. We always had a roof over our head. We always had food on the table. Even if I ever went down to my mama's house, I know uh, she would always have something for me, or my dad would ask me, "Toppy, what you need?" Daddy, I don't need nothing. I'll be need something. Guess what? He gave it to me anyway. Cole,
Mhm.
go get dollars. But I sacrificed a lot, for my children or whatever, and making moves by myself, making decisions on my own, you know, trying to be the woman and the man of the house. I mean, I did a lot. But by the grace of God, girl, I'm still here. I am still here. And I don't regret not one thing about that. I don't regret anything about the sacrifices that I made as being a mother and a father.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about that, like I love what you said that you don't regret it. You did what you had to do
I,
to
that's
bring your
right.
kids up in a different environment. And
Exactly.
I love that because that's so important. Like they saw something different than what you saw when you were coming up. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're still, striving to continue to break
Curses. Yeah.
these
I,
generational.
I call them generational curses because we don't have to, the way that we were brought up, I was brought up, or the way that I was taught, or anything that hindered me from being the best person that I need to be. It All you gotta do is surrender and just give it to God. Ask God. He gonna. If you just surrender, Lord, I don't want to be like this. Lord, I see I'm keep repeating the same paths over and over and over. There's no change, God. Nothing is happening. God, I surrender. I give it to you. Show me what I need to do, because I can't do it by myself. I cannot do it by myself. So that's what I start. That's what I do now. Everything that's going on in my kids, like my daughter, I'm telling you, she's the best. I sacrificed for her too as well. She is the best person. I would do anything in the world for her
Oh,
because
she's a
she
sweetheart.
went to school not over one time, but this is like the third time she's gonna be in school. She did it herself. She went to HBCU, but guess what? I said, Ayana, what you need? Mama, I don't need nothing. This year call me. She worked her way through school. She was like over the hall monitors, or she worked in the library. She made her way through school. And with me, that being said, I just moved to Atlanta or whatever, and she just did everything by her on her set. I said, Lord have mercy. And she would tell me, she said, Mama, let me tell you how witty she is. She said, Mama, why you did stuff all out of order? I said, what do you mean? She said, Mama, you had kids before you got married. You know that ain't how the order get. You didn't go to school. Now you in school. You go to school. I said, girl, I said, right. You know that's right, baby. And you know what? She's doing stuff in order right now. And like I say, she did a lot of sacrifices. And I did a lot of sacrifices, but she the only daughter that I got. But she like Ella, she my mama. Now she taught me a lot too, cause she's a young lady, but
Intelligent.
she got a soul, and she be telling me. But she did just talking about sacrifices. She did a lot of sacrifices, and she did a lot of praying because she practically put herself through school. I ain't have to
Wow.
do. She said, Mom, I don't know how I'm gonna do so and so. Then she got her own apartment. I said, baby, I said, I help you. She said, no, mama. She said, I figure it out. And guess what? She done figured it out. But she always go to God to prayer. She prayed.
Wow.
If you put I always told her, if you put God first in everything that you do, if you ask him, put him first. Wake up in the morning. That's the first thing you thank God. And you say your prayer or whatever, however you want to give him praise. If you put him first every morning, guess what? You won't go wrong. You Because he's gonna be ahead of you because you put him first.
That is
And so
so true.
try to tell her just to apply herself. But yeah, I did a lot of sacrificing, but I don't regret not one thing that I did. Not one thing.
Yeah, and I love that because you can see that, and it's so interesting, when we look at our kids and then we can kind of see our character and the way we move, and they observe everything and
Yeah.
they see, and that was one of the things that Ayana observed was like, I'm gonna put in the work, I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Exactly.
And you
And
said she seemed like an old soul.
she's the kind of, she likes order. She wants everything. Well, I'm not gonna do this until I get married. I want this amount of money. I want to go to school. I want this. She want everything in place, but guess what? She don't have everything in place because guess what? She putting God first. He's
Yeah.
ordering her steps. So that's why she said, let me tell you, I'll make you laugh again. She said, Mom, why my mom, every time I get me, my mom talk, she always asks me why I ain't married. She said, she said, Mama, I don't want to be married.
Wow.
I, she's not a lot of stuff that she's wanting to do now before she make that big step. She want to be aligned with everything.
Yeah.
Life and see, I I I wish I wish it could have been like that with me because, but see, I was like just I had a lot of distractions in my life. It's growing
Hmm.
up an abusive home or whatever. So I couldn't, and they had nobody to talk to. So I had to do the best that I can. But she
Yeah.
saw that she didn't want to go in that direction.
Yeah. And
So it,
that's the beautiful thing about life, and this is a beautiful transition into our signature question,
mm-hmm,
because you really just in sharing, part of the relationship with you and your daughter, like I can hear it and I can feel it, and the signature question is, what seed are you planting for the woman coming after you?
uh-huh. So the seed that I'm planting in her, I always told her to I always put God first. I go to church when you can, pray. I want her. I said, do everything. Don't do like your mama did. I said, do everything the way that God wants us to do it, and to keep up with your finances, keep good credit, and be mindful of who you have around you. You can't have
Mm,
everybody's your circle because if people say you're friends, but no, you're not. But see, she has discernment. She knew that when she was in college. I said, be careful, everybody's not your friend. Then she tell me one day, she said, you don't know, Mama, so and so, she's not my friend because she talked about me, this, that, and another. Guess what? She distanced herself.
distance.
Watch that you keep. And I just try to have a good word to tell, she call me and be ask me questions. I just try to encourage her, just to stay on the right path, mind your way, and always put God first. I tell her, if you do that, everything else will fall in place. I said, don't you got to worry about no people getting married and this and that and another, because you know what, when it's your time, it's gonna be your time.
That is so true. And these days, marriages don't let, people,
They don't. They don't. And she said mom, she said, I might never want to be married. I
and
mean,
that's okay.
I just try to put wisdom on her and just tell her. I talked to her about how I grew up and the things that happened, and she just can't believe that. But she said, Mom, I don't want to be like that. Or
Yeah,
we just have deep conversations about that. And I'm just letting her know how I grew up, and I don't want her to be in the situations that I was in.
yeah,
Even having keep children out of wedlock. I don't want my daughter to be like that. Just wait. Just wait until you find
yeah,
the right that God has for you. Don't just get married because somebody else is getting married. You do it when you are ready, when you think the right person is
yes,
is and God gonna let you, He gonna let you know. He gonna let you
yeah.
know. Pray for discernment. Pray for discernment. hmm Yeah, we have a lot of those talks about stuff that I try to embed in her, and she listened. She listened. She, Mama, you told me you was right. Say everybody's not your friend. And she said, I said, what did you do about it? She said, Mom, I just don't, I speak and be cordial, but I'm just not going to have a relationship with them, be around them, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
I got to teach her uh just about life. But she's so far, she's 30 years old, so she's doing great. I I can't ask for a better daughter. And my sons, I love, my two sons, I still, got to keep them on track sometime. But
Mm-hmm.
boys are harder than girls. So I just keep a whole entire family, just keep them prayed up, because it's a battle. It's a
Yeah,
battle.
it's always a battle. And like I said at the beginning, my prayer is that in these messages and the podcast and just moving forward, that we can continue to encourage, inspire, empower, uplift someone, or even if it's just keeping somebody in prayer, that we
Yeah,
are planting positive seeds and it spreads. Because
right.
just like how, with you and your kids and your husband now, and just the wisdom that you impart in them, they will carry that. And all of those are seeds.
They're seeds, planting seeds.
All of it is seeds.
And I'm
So
going to continue to do that, because I have a lot of people that confide in me or whatever, and I just ask God, Lord, just help me, just to give me the right words to say to them, to tell them, to encourage them, to help them, because we don't know what people go through. Some people come to work, they got they're mean, and they don't, you can just tell something's all over their face,
something
and
is
they might
wrong. Yeah.
Miss Sonya, so and so, me and my husband. I said, honey, I said, I start talking, I might say, you just pray. I said, I pray for you. And, or whatever God puts on my heart. Because, some people, they can confide in some people. Sometimes you can't confide in nobody.
Right.
But I feel like that God put me in a spot to where people can look at me and they know that they can trust me, because when they tell me something, I'm not going to tell nobody. Because guess what? That's wrong. And guess that's, first of all, that's gossiping. And you can't tell everybody your business, your personal business at
Exactly.
home or whatever is going on. Cause you some people just want to know your business. So guess what? So they can go
So
to the
they can
next,
run tell it.
instead of saying, look, I'm gonna pray for you, honey. Let's go right here. Let's go in this bathroom. We're gonna pray right now. And
Hmm.
that's it. So yeah, God, He uses me in ways, in ways that I said, what was that all about? I said, well, thank you, Holy Spirit. You used me. You did it again. I asked
Yeah.
you to do it.
Wow. My goodness. This has been such an experience, and I pray that we can continue to talk and just continue to grow together. And wow, I learned a lot today. And this is my aunt, and I know, Auntie. Everybody needs an auntie, and
Yeah,
everybody needs someone that's gonna pray for
right.
them, that's gonna pour
Mhm.
into them, and someone that's not going to take the things that you share with them and spread it. Some
Right.
people just need that safe space, and it sounds like that's what you are to a lot of
Uh,
people. So
right.
with that being said, I just want to thank you so much again for being a guest on Her Perspective. And I like to close out with something I close out with in all of my videos. But
Okay.
thank you so much for being here. And for anyone that's listening, share the message if you got anything from it. We are truly grateful. And just continue to, put God first, work on yourself, and just strive to
Mm,
evolve and heal, evolve, and rise.
that's
So
right.
what I like to say at the end is be blessed, be well, and be empowered.
And you as well, Tierra. We love you.
Oh, love you too. Thank you so much.
Very welcome anytime. Okay. Okay. I love you.
Love you too.